All right. So now let's talk a little bit more. Let's deeper dive a little bit on level one. And this is going to continue to add to the motivational side, but now we're also getting into kind of more emotions and better understanding of what's happening in the world around us. So this is a very powerful understanding. A lot of people are now aware of the dopamine system, but there's a lot more to it than you realize, and it's important for you to understand. It's actually, and it's not that complicated, but once you understand it, it's life-changing to know that this 4 million-year-old system that's especially driven by the dopamine system is causing a lot of problems for us. And so, let's see here. So, concept is, what's the reason the dopamine system showed up in the first place? And that is, as we've hinted at, it's really about survival of the genes. Whenever I say, this lower brain, which is also called the limbic system, has fear system, an anxiety system, a stress system, a thinking system. Why is it there? And everyone says, survival, saber-toothed tiger, that kind of idea. That turns out to be wrong, actually, because average life expectancy is 27 years of age for most of human history until just very recently. And so, if that's what it was there for, it wasn't doing a very good job, right? So, in fact, it was survival of the genes is the reason this system showed up. And so, it made us obsessed with and hooked on, like cocaine, with dopamine, which is the same system as cocaine. Cocaine basically activates that same system. But the dopamine system is like cocaine. It gets us high when we have higher status, tribal acceptance, more resources, and more opportunity, which includes novelty. And so this is why this system is there, but it's causing two or three big problems now in modern times. And so once we understand these problems, it can really help us reframe pain, all kinds of pain in life, knowing that it's a trick of the lower brain, but that it's also we are now lifting weights whenever we take on discomfort. And there's a payoff, a higher brain building payoff. Even if it doesn't result in an external outcome that's good, you always win no matter what the situation is, which even further helps you to reframe the pain of life, whether it's emotional pain, intellectual pain, it's relationship pain, accountability pain, physical pain. All these kinds of pain can be reframed now as being dopamine system trickery that's trying to get us to avoid loss, as well as us putting in the reps at the gym, helping to build a higher brain, making the dopamine system less controlling of us. And so then we're going to embrace the action I want you to take is to embrace all discomfort as both a lower brain trick and a loss avoidance and proof that you're actually lifting weights and building the higher brain. And so remember, we talked about the 6 levels of happiness. And in fact, we're talking right now about level one in particular with the dopamine system. So jumping on to the next. See if I can get this working here. Okay, sorry about that. I just realized I was actually using the PowerPoint ink instead of the Zoom ink. So that's why I got a little bit confused about what was going on there. Okay, so like I said, we're going to focus on level one, which is the dopamine system. Let's see if this is the Zoom ink. Let's see if I can get that to go away now. There we go, much better. Um, and and so we're going to focus on this very powerful, critical graph, which is the dopamine system. And that's demonstrated here. And in fact, anytime you get, see this little peak here, you get a high from novelty, anything new. So over here, you can see we have access to the internet, we've got social media, we've got streaming, we've got smartphones, sensory experiences, the feeling superior to other people, bragging and gossiping. All these things give a little bit of a dopamine high because the lower brain likes that because you're getting some more status, you're together with your group, you're part of the in crowd, you're getting more opportunity, more resources, more novelty. And so in modern times, there's tremendous access to the dopamine system. And that's a big problem for a couple of reasons. One is we're basically being turned into zombies. And so because you get this kind of trickle of dopamine, you're sort of satisfied. And you forget and you lose touch with the fact that you have access to all these much higher highs, including dopamine. You have much more access to dopamine by virtue of being fearless in terms of self-awareness and growth, fearless creatively and learning wise, fearless relationship wise, fearless happiness and spiritually. And these lead to, respectively, level two, GABA. Remember, level three, anandamide, level three, norepinephrine, of being creatively fearless with learning and innovation. The creation of beauty, serotonin, oxytocin, fearlessness in terms of relationships, gamma waves, which are not on here, which happens when you put more time into various practices, breathing techniques, meditation, yoga, etc., leads to even higher highs, level six types of highs. And so there's a huge tragedy happening in modern times is that because we have enough of a trickle of dopamine coming in, we're satisfied. And then we lose the muscle that allows us to tolerate the dopamine drop of loss. So being creatively fearless and going to level two, three, four, five, and six causes loss because we have failures, we have rejections, we have feedback that we're not doing as well as we could, and we can make improvements. But the problem is we've lost that muscle that allows us, the higher brain muscle that allows us to tolerate this dopamine drop. So then we stay hiding over here on the left side when the promised land over here is available to us. And that's a double tragedy because staying stuck on the left side leads to more boredom. It leads to depression because little trickle of dopamine just doesn't get the job done. It's something over here I have called written right here, arrival fallacy. Arrival fallacy is the idea that you think getting to the retirement or getting to vacation or making that big money or getting that raise or having that relationship, having that special someone that's going to get you happiness. It never works because you have the dopamine spike with the initial, but then it kind of wears off because the lower brain is designed to keep you going to get more. Well, you can't control external factors, and then you get bored. And so something called arrival fallacy, the idea that you're going to arrive somewhere and it's going to make you sustainably happy, does not work. And so the problem is you become a zombie stuck over here, and it leads to more loneliness, some boredom, depression, addiction, chronic pain, chronic disease, even panic about the future because you're not as adaptable. If you can't go to the right side, you are not as adaptable as a human being. And so then you get panicky about the future because the world is changing so fast and it's so complex. And so then you huddle together with a tribe. And that's what explains hyperpolarization that happens in politics because we're panicking because they're stuck over here on the lower brain side. And so we not only have those problems, but then we miss out on all the opportunity on the right side of the equation with connection, fulfillment, all these higher brain payoffs that we can get. So this is a deeper understanding of why it's critical for us to push into the discomfort, to build a higher brain, to get to the promised land, and to leave zombie land behind us. Okay, so that's why another deeper understanding of how to reframe pain and really want to go into it in order to build a higher brain muscle in order to get to the promised land and leave a zombie land behind us. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for your patience.